Good day, and welcome to another episode of Agent X11 Hollywood Dark Journalist. Another light in this darkened world. I am your host, Penny L.A. Shepherd, and I am Agent X11. My co-hosts are David Zublik, Heather Day, Joan Renee, Chris Montgomery, Skip Press, Tom Althouse, Jessica Garza, Edward Medallion, Dr. Keith Abloh, and TJ Ward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
Agent X11 Hollywood Dark Journalist begins now. And welcome to another episode of Agent X11 Hollywood Dark Journalist. My name is Penny L.A. Shepherd, and I am Agent X11. I am joined by my co-host Joan Renee, and by Bryan Singh, and by Sir Bryan Bowden. Our guest today is Chris Jacobs from The Lifting. And welcome, everyone. Joan, how are you?
I'm ready for today's show. I think this is going to be fun.
I think so too. Are we living in a time convergency, Sir Bryan?
I think something's going on, but we'll find out.
Some weird stuff. Bryan Singh, this is actually your segment, Bryan Singh Presents. How did you and Chris meet one another?
I reached out to Christopher over social media. I forget how I learned about The Lifting. I'm not sure if it was through mutual friends in the community. When the scamdemic hit and my initial Facebook account got deleted or banned and censored for trying to warn people away from the experiment, we'll call it,
right,
where you have to roll up your sleeves.
That one.
I then friended Sean Bond of the Psionic League and people like Drago Reed, people who are in the Super Soldier, Full Disclosure Experiencer community. And somehow I ran across Christopher and Joanna. And, Christopher, one of his, very more unique and powerful abilities is to trance channel. And he also has an amazing protection team or guardian team, I guess you'd say, that he's worked with since, as a young man or as a child, from all his life, from what I understand. And to me, that's very significant because even in the disclosure community, a lot of people are being contacted by all sorts of means, whether telepathy, synthetic telepathy, voice to skull, possession, all sorts of things, and mixtures of that. And so having a good spiritual team or team on the other side, as it were, who can help you monitor and screen out for all the imposter spirits is very important, critical. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris, can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself? I know you've been here before.
Yeah. So, Bryan, thank you for that. Yeah, it was Ida Farhat that actually introduced us. After that, well, actually, I shouldn't say after that. Back when I was little, I actually started seeing and hearing things around between the ages of 3 and 5. And at 5, it was more so seeing my grandfather at the foot of my bed, things of that nature after he'd passed away. And then later on, I started getting more into doing channeling, things of that nature through my teenage years. That was through the 90s. And then when I got injured back in 2009, I had a near-death experience that took it to a different level. And since then, I've been doing more trench working. I've been in the paranormal field before, but I'm doing more trench working work where I clear people's properties, get rid of attachments that's on them, get rid of demonic entities or nefarious aliens, like if somebody's getting abducted by aliens constantly, or if some military unit is doing something and they're in the background trying to make them think it's ghosts or something like that, I'll figure out actually. So, there's a lot of that going down right now. As we're speaking, there's like a lot of this going around the world right now. And even in my area, I've come across several of it on some of the historic sites I've been to, everything. I've seen plenty of it. And it's some people have contacted me specifically because they're ending up with marks on them. And they think it's aliens, but sometimes it's military that are in other frequencies that are doing it. And we came across recently some instances such as that, where I found implants in people that were fairly solid. And these were fairly obtrusive to actually get rid of. But what I do is I go into someone's energy and I get rid of attachments. And if there's an etherical, like photonic type implant, I can get rid of it. And if a ghosts are intruding in their space, I can usually get rid of them. And I even came to find out recently ghosts were being even used as trackers. Something was stuck in their energy to get them to wander into someone's house like a Trojan. And I came across that. And innocent person, but they're being told, go to this guy, he can help you. And it's usually somebody trying to get into my space. And it's not the fault of that particular ghost. It's whomever just pushed them my direction. I knew some of that before, but I didn't realize a tracker was being put in them. I find new stuff every single year. And ever since the whole scamdemic happened, that kind of activity has gone into overdrive. And in 2020,
Christopher, can you define more what you mean by trackers and how things like that work in the etheric or astral?
Yes. So there are some people everyone has a personal like soul thumbprint or sigil, let's just say, that identifies who that soul is or oversoul is. And throughout different incarnations and through different incarnations, different beings have used that to track different people through the centuries. Different aliens have used family lineages for, in that way, bloodlines, things of this nature. But to be more simplistic in this, if you have a ghost that has had a tracker put in the energy, and since ghosts are more of an electromagnetic, plasmatic type of structure, I should say electromagnetic, they stick a photonic or light-based tracker in them that is just existing just in a few little bit of light spectrum, like usually within the ultraviolet light spectrum, and it's shoved within the energy, and they can actually just be sent. That person in that house will help you. Go wandering in there. And I didn't realize what I was picking up on. I just thought the ghost was being extremely obstinate, and going, what's going on here? And I came to find out that a lot of these that were heading my direction were from another source, either human or alien, that was throwing them my direction as a tracker, as a Trojan. Since the defenses I put up aren't always against ghosts, it's usually against just evil in general. And so I've had to put stronger defenses up against ghosts based on these trackers. Humans can have these put in either in solid form. People know about implants, but you can have like in the insectoid races, for instance, like to put them up in the sinus cavity or in the teeth. Some of the eben type races are grayish type ones, like to make these little metal filament like ones and stick them in your back or in your neck or hands, like in the edges of the thumbs, sometimes in here. And then you have these light-based ones that are shoved into the energy. And if a seer looked in, they would think it was one of the chakras or energy centers or something of that nature. And I came to find out that the energy centers themselves had been co-opted with a spell ages ago. And I was able to actually pick that apart and find where even new stuff had been layered on top of that. So I was able to clear that out of people. Their original energy centers just took control again after that. And I find all sorts of trackers, implants. I had one recently that I found. And this was going through the airport on the way back from Sedona. We were visiting Randy Kramer. And I went through the airport, and I came to find out I had been using the P90. That's Ida Ferrat actually turned us on to that business. And I came to find out the field that came up through that revealed a couple of implants that were actually in my body. Airport security saw them literally on the X-ray scan, and they popped up. Two of them popped up on the X-ray scan. And what was kind of funny, this had Joanna almost rolling. One was in my chest and one was in my privates. So, and this confused everybody. And my guide Isaac was just rolling because he thought that was hilarious. Big red square right over my crotch on the X-ray. I'm like, okay.
What the hell?
Yeah. I'm going, what the hell? Came to find out the PMF that I used actually at the conference revealed any hardware I had left in my body that was old.
Just so everyone knows, the P90 that Christopher is referring to, it's like it's terahertz frequencies that are basically kind of transmitted into the body when you put your feet on this, like they looks like foot pads, like metal foot pads on a little block, and you put your feet on the metal foot pads, and it conducts at the terahertz frequency. So this is like very high cycles of hertz at the terahertz level.
And I found out that reveals the implants. Yes. No.
Yeah, and by hitting certain frequencies, it can reveal implants. It can help your body heal faster, things like that. And then what's wonderful about working with Christopher is a lot of lay people, myself included, to like, I don't have my third eye activated like that. Christopher is able to describe in such detail what it looks like to him and how he's experiencing it, that it helps to give all of us, the rest of us, a good idea. I work with a lot of other psychics and gifted people, but it's like they kind of take their abilities for granted, and they know what it looks like and what it feels like. They kind of assume everyone else knows what it's like to fly around astrally or to clear energy or whatnot. But so Christopher is really good at helping to describe that to the rest of us.
So getting back to what Christopher was saying, they started using more trackers and implants because after the lockdown, the reason why they wanted you 6 feet apart is so they can discern who is who. Your body naturally has what you like. It's like your cell phone electronic identification number. It's based off your genes and your DNA. That's why there's like other digits after it for, your great grandfather who gives birth to your grandfather who, and so on and so forth. So that's how they know what the bloodline is, but it also admits it. One of the ways it admits it is your aura, and your energy level. And you can't get away from that. You can block it. You can go into like a Faraday cage and if you can put up tinfoil all over the room, and you will be blocking it for the most part. But some of these other tracking devices that are on the higher end, they work on a totally different plane, and they're harder to block and harder to even see. But you do feel, if you're sensitive enough, you'll feel like something's wrong,
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who Jesse Beltran is?
I know the name, but I don't
know the name.
Yeah, he's been on our show for like almost a year. He actually finally told his story on the show, and I had talked to him about 2 hours before. He's now finally getting, he was going to go to Congress. He's got some national acclaim. I was just looking, I sent you a text, Bryan. Billy Carson is actually part of your Full Disclosure Now. Yeah, I know, right? Check it out. So Billy Carson he's a coach. He's an best-selling author, award-winning producer, and TV host. And he just did a documentary with Jesse. And Jesse was like, I can't come on the show because I'm doing this documentary, and he's sending his limo over. I'm like, geez, it must be tough. But he's finally spreading the word. And what he does is he helps people that have implants. I mean, he's a master hypnotist, but he helps people that have the implants in them. He's an expert in Havana syndrome. I always say Savannah, like in Georgia. That's so wrong. And he told his story about a month ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, in which he said why he started doing what he was doing. He was a firefighter, and there was a child involved in a custody case in which her father was killed in front of her. They had him resuscitate the father, who was already dead, he said. And then he started talking about it. He said at one point he had to have some oral surgery, and he was recommended, he found out through the PD, to go to this particular dentist, who then put implants in him so that they were following him. I know, right, Bryan? And I'm pretty sure I had them in me, but I think they took me out. They took them out because when I was in Illinois, my brother would not let me go to his dentist, which I thought was really weird. And I went to a dentist, and it took him 3 hours to pull my tooth.
And it makes me think of the song "He'll Be a Dentist."
Right.
It's like, Little Shop of Horrors, CIA dentist.
Yeah, you want to.
Steve Martin with the laughing gas.
Who wants to be a dentist, man? That's like going to be. You wanted to be a dentist?
No, that's from the animated Reindeer. But something that you can do to protect yourself outside and during the day is wear some shungite. Mm-hmm. And this will start to block things. You can put it. Well, here it is.
Oh, look at you guys.
Necklace.
Well, I know what I want for Christmas.
Right.
One of those.
I'm going to warn you around here. Wear this when you go to sleep.
Everyone's looking for their.
I've got it around here. It's up there.
Don't wear it when you go to sleep. Don't keep it even in the room when you're going to sleep. Keep it around your room.
Don't wear it when you go to sleep.
No, you will not sleep. It will keep you. Everything will keep spinning, and it does work. It blocks a lot of EMF and other things. And it's good to, just protect yourself with certain things that are still legal, because I know they want to get rid of supplements and some of these minerals and crystals, because they do have properties that will enhance your intuitiveness, and you will get alert, and also block some of the stuff that they're using.
Wow.
Chris, what do you know about crystals, Chris?
Oh yeah, nice. We make orgone pieces that actually every piece we make has shungite in it, every single one of them, and we even make amber ones. But the shungite based ones, we make these magnetic based tower busters that utilize shungite, and those put a protective bubble over the property. The first time I made them here, when we moved to here, we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. First time I started planting them in the area, I got the DOD's attention like immediately. So it
really,
it's noticeable. It's very noticeable, because when they do the flybys, it's kind of looking like Google Maps, and they see that big square they don't want you to look at. It's the same thing.
That's what it looks like.
On your web, Chris, which is thelifting.net, it says, welcome to The Lifting. I am Christopher Stephen Jacobs. For the past 20 years, I've been known as a psychic medium, channeler, remote viewer, and healer. During my sessions with clients, I assist people in clearing their energy fields of unwanted energies to bring them to their optimum health. Sometimes these unwanted energies come in the form of attachments or oppressive entities siphoning off your energies. I've also helped people with past life issues, assist with contact with guides and loved ones, and assist in understanding your galactic history and soul mission. I've also been given the gift as a channeler with a wide range of frequencies to speak to many different entities out there. This enables me to see more of our galactic family and be able to bring you more information on our true galactic history and the learning experience we're in. It's an amazing time, and we are going into new energies that will enable us to become more sovereign and co-create the experiences we desire. How do you achieve healing? Do you use any kind of crystals?
Yeah, I actually, I use. I got to show you that chunk. When I do channeling, I usually have a crystal around to take some of the energetic load. I noticed real quick I can't do it as long without that. But I also use selenite. You see these swords here. I use these when I do sessions because of the fact, like if I come across, say, a demon, for instance, like the typical, one with the horns or anything like that. They're at a particular frequency that can easily be manipulated if you're in a particular wavelength. And if you tap into the one that can manipulate them, you can reach into theirs and just take their head off. And I noticed that by doing that, then you put them in a box and transmute them into nature energy, and that's how I clear them off the game board. Most people that do clearings will just shove them somewhere else. And I'll get them out of this house. Well, they just go in your neighbor's house. You don't want that. Yeah. So you have to quarantine the property off, confine them, get rid of them, and that's usually how I deal with that. And then they can't come back. They're off the game board completely, and whatever evil source was using them can't use it anymore. So I just wipe it out completely, down to the molecules. I just basically return it to Earth's human resonance at that point. I do the audit of the whole property to make sure the molecules are of how the Earth wants to align to it and not whatever the entity was doing. And once you get rid of the source of it, it clears the whole thing. That's like what they used to say about werewolf myths. You kill the first one, it clears up all the rest of them, kind of thing. And I noticed that that applies to situations of any energy sort. With crystals, though, yeah, I use pieces. I recommend, people do grids on their property. I put the magnetic pieces in as grids. I make non-magnetic ones for around their computers and everything, around their phones. I do things of this nature, and people laugh when I show them this, but I have one of those pieces sitting right under my computer, big middle finger right here.
Nice.
That's a good piece right there.
Yeah.
I have some of your stickers here, Christopher.
Something very interesting, because I did pull up your site on my end as well, and I went to the store and I shared the logo. I've been drawing this triangle with the circle around it for 40 plus years.
What this specific one does is it links to all these other timelines that are good, the ones that are uncorruptible ones, and it travels through that Merkaba and it brings in a non-corruptible space. That's how we program it. So, yeah. But
it's very interesting how you do things over and over again, and you it's a lot of individuals that are into the know and are vibrating are using hemi-syncing naturally. Bryan, I'm sure Solar Bee does it as well, and all these warriors and soldiers, because we're at a different level. But you key in on things, and later on in life, like right now, I just went to it, and I'm like, I'm a design guy, and I'm like, I know that logo. I mean, I've been drawing the same thing. I drew it on my kitchen cabinet. We had a little whiteboard you can peel and stick, and we put notes up there, and it was on there for years. I was thinking, oh, this is a cool design, but that familiarness is actually a calling to your life after life after life or experience. So it's just interesting how everybody gets connected. And Solar Bee is collecting everybody in one family reunion. So it's great, you know?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. That symbol, what was interesting was when our friend Bjorn and I had these logos designed. There's another one we use for GIC, Galactic Interversal Consortium, as well. But for the lifting one there, this one that's behind me there, this one we noticed the way the circles act, where it just channels it in from all the different, also the realities that of course I was in multiple lifetimes, like what you were saying. And it connects to all these uncorruptible timelines, and it projects them out forward into the space. I have flags on our property with this symbol on, if you can see outside right here. And it basically made this really tight sacred space that I'll know if something tries to intrude on it, along course with our crystal grid and such. But combining the crystal grid, the orgone pieces, and that symbol seem to work incredibly well.
That seems to mimic the Star of David as well. That symbol that you have, except yours is 3-dimensional.
Yeah, it's the Merkaba type one. That one predates the Star of David by quite a bit, actually. Yeah.
I want to speak to this, Joan, because you raise a really interesting point. These sacred symbols, a lot of them have been corrupted. So if you look at Australian Aboriginal art, you'll see like they got like the batik, like pointillism type art, and they'll have like ant people depicted, and then they'll have like these spirals. And the spirals depict portals. But in more contemporary recent times, there was an FBI like 2011 bulletin release revealing that the spiral, a circular spiral or a triangular spiral, those are both symbols that are being used by pedophiles now.
Yes.
Why? Is it because the symbols are evil? No, it's because pedophiles identify children as portals. Okay, so they've taken beautiful sacred geometry and symbolism, and then they've corrupted it, and they're trying to claim it as their own. The Star of Remphan, I see it as like a similar phenomenon. And then what Christopher and Joanna and the others have done is they've taken the Merkaba and they've reclaimed it, in the sacred form. Okay, and then they're basically empowering the sacred version versus the bastardized, perverted form, which is what the other side is always trying to do. Just like an upside down cross could symbolize a sword, but in their perversion, they're symbolizing it as Yeshua upside down.
So basically, the symbols are benign; they represent something good, but then they're hijacked and used for something to symbolize something bad. So they're to mask what's actually going on. Because
the hijacking.
Yeah.
Like what you said, the hijacking is key because evil cannot create. It can only steal, hijack, kill, destroy. Good can create. So that's always where it's always coming off. The symbols, the understanding is generally first coming from a place of good, and then it gets hijacked and bastardized by the dark or evil.
Okay, that makes sense. I have another question for you, also as well as when you were talking about the ghosts, using the ghosts. But in some of these rituals that they do, there's what they call thought forms that they can send to people, and there's ceremonies that they do, and which could mimic a ghost.
Yes.
So are you also familiar with that, and do you clear those?
Oh yeah, most definitely. There are some are tulpas that people put together. I nicknamed them Franken entities because you could stick together basically a thought form of something. Like you could imagine a certain form into existence and then send it off to someone to harm them, and it's really an extension of yourself. People also like to associate the word poltergeist with ghosts. That's not necessarily true. It's more of an extension of someone who has certain abilities like repressed in themselves. They used to associate that with little girls, but anybody can actually.
Did you say little girls?
Yeah, sometimes they used to associate that with little girls that would repress certain abilities or something like that, like almost like a witch ability. But it's not necessarily completely true per gender.
No, I think it actually could be, an angry person, but they're manifesting their anger with kinetic abilities, because I remember my aunt saying that she had a poltergeist at work, and later on I was like, gee, I wonder if that was me.
Well, I've run into this, like where it's the thought form of someone else. They're just thinking about you, and they will open portals on your property. I ran into somebody that had such an explosive ability of psionics that they get into this fearful mindset, and all of a sudden there's 100 portals opening up on your property, and it's like, I had to, that drove us nuts here. So because I'm pretty pristine about how I want picky about how I want the energy. So if something even slightly changes, some of the guides I run across have nicknamed me Rain Man for that reason, because it's like I'm trying to constantly keep it stable. So it's like, but with the thought forms, yes, I run into that more often than I do the ghosts. It's actually the thought form of somebody coming in to get into your space, but also it could be their alter as well. Like if they've been in one of the secret space programs or something like that, it could be a version of themselves that's hiding somewhere in their psyche doing it as well. And they don't even know about it. They might have a passing thought here and there, but it might be an alternate version of themselves doing that. I've run into that as well. Sometimes in sessions, I've run into that as well, when I'm feeling somebody attacking me, and I register it as their signet or their signature. I'm like, I was like, can you please stop aiming this at me? They're like, what are you talking about? And it was actually an alternate that was actually created within their psyche to attack me. And so when I point this out, if the person actually believes what I've said, if I point this out to them, their oversoul and their human avatar self resolve the situation pretty quickly. They'll go, oh, there's something wrong, and the programming breaks, and it completely resolves or almost resolves the situation. They may require some more shadow work on their part to reintegrate that, but the attack has stopped at that point.
You know what? When you're talking about that, what comes into my mind is that phrase in the Bible where it says, "Even if you think it, you have sinned."
Yep.
Talking about these sending negative thoughts towards another person, because what your experience is, and a lot of our experience is that you actually do a psychic attack when you do that, but we do it unwittingly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Actually, and there's someone that Christopher and I know of mutually, probably in the community, where they've been known to have been in the secret space programs and the Nachtwaffen, or the German secret space program, Dark Fleet, as a military intelligence officer, and even down here in the here and now, they're a skilled remote viewer.
Mm-hmm.
And this person has been known to abuse the remote viewing abilities, not only to remote view people like in their bedroom or in the bathroom or in the shower, but to also even astrally attack and sexually assault people in the astral. And that is and this is someone who, they have lots of alters in the programs, and self-admittedly, but they also in this case, where they were using that ability apparently fully conscious, and they were being abusive to others, to women in our community, and this was a male.
Not cool.
Not
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
No, it's not cool. But what you're saying is they were purposely doing it.
They were purposely. They said they thought, this person's my twin flame, and I'm going to go visit her while she's at work and have fun. And this person apparently was at work, like working at a bookstore or something, stocking shelves. She was like talking to like another friend in her community, and she's like jumping. It's like, whoa, what's going on? She like felt like she's getting poked and prodded, and it was literally this person was astrally assaulting her.
Wow. And that a lot of people don't realize that can happen. And you can actually do that kind of attack, and the one that you're attacking looks crazy, but they're not.
Yep. And you can get caught in the remote viewing space as well.
Yes, I wanted to ask you guys about that. So in remote viewing, and this is my assertion, if you go to someone's house, you knock on their door and you ask for permission to come in. But if you are going into people's minds and their lives without permission, that is a breach. So I'd like you each to address that. Bryan, Sir Bryan, you first.
Sure. Whenever I do anything, the only people I read constantly are my kids and their friends, because even when they get a little bit older, as they get legal, they're going to get leeway, but I have to be aware of what's going on with them. I do not read anybody's energy whatsoever without permission. It's your business, not my business. Now, we did have a group, and I would remote view future investigations. We have a psychic that would check them out to make sure that they have the proper constitution to do said investigation, and they weren't going to be a threat or something dangerous for us to go out with. If you block us and you say you still want to be part of the team, we have to tell you not to block, and we will use multiple means to say, listen, don't block our psychic, because it's dangerous to us. But in general, I've only come across select situations where, even with the blocking and the energy using, God has other plans, and you just pick up on it. You cannot help but pick up on it. But I always have thought that is what was destined to be. There's a reason why you're picking up on this specific party. And usually it's about helping someone anyhow. So, but I don't purposely go in and check things out with without permission in a reading. I did go to see our psychic who was in Arkansas, and I asked her, can I go check out, see what's going on? And then I try to do a healing while in remote view land, which usually works. And when I stepped into a home that I don't know where it is or who it was, her 4-year-old granddaughter was there looking at me like, who the hell are you? And I said who I was. I'm Bryan. I'm here to help your Nana. Can you tell her Bryan was here? And the next day I did what I had to do. And she just looked at me, wasn't scared, like, oh, whatever. Next day, she called me up and she goes, you were here, weren't you? I said, yeah, I was. How do you know? He goes, well, I felt you around. And I felt a little bit better this morning. But my grandbaby came in and said, Bryan told me to tell you he was here. So do get
Nice. Bryan,
Yeah.
same question.
Regarding like things like spiritual protection, I guess this would fall under. I have a really different methodology than a lot of people in our community because like Bryan and Christopher, their gifts like this in that area are much more activated than mine, and I surround myself by friends with these abilities. So that's one thing, that's a protection mechanism I have. Our good friend Sarah R. Adams, she says all masks, they fall after 3 months anyway. And so my kind of protection mechanism is I walk the path I'm supposed to walk, even if someone's a scorpion or a snake. As long as I'm walking my path, yeah, sometimes they might sting me, but I become immune to their venom. And generally, having walked that path, even if that person's a scorpion or a snake, something good in my life happens for me or the movement as a result of knowing that person. Even though sometimes pain and headaches come with knowing that person as well, good things also came with that person. So I kind of like let God work it all out as long as I'm doing my path. Even if I take a little bit of a sting, in the end, I'll become immunized to it. And that's kind of how I walk.
That's excellent.
My band name
But
was
then I listen to my friends though when they tell me, "Hey, that guy, their aura is jet black, da da da," like stay away from them.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I really love about you. I just wanted to mention that one of my bands was Stinger. Chris.
Yeah.
Same question.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't scan people without their permission, and I see a lot of people in my profession, especially back in the old New Age movement. Back when we were in Arizona, we would come across people that would I would sense them trying to scan my energy, Joanna's energy, and anybody that was around. And I was polite to a couple people doing this. I said, I'm going to need you to stop doing that. And I was stern about it, but I was still not, like a raving maniac about it or anything like that. But I made it quite clear that they weren't to do that. And I said, you can't just go around scanning people. It's like, well, we have to make sure the people coming in are okay. We got to make sure they don't bring things in with them. I said, I understand you want to vet the space. I really do. But whatever's attached to you could attach to those people. Right. You can vet the space, but you can't just dive deep into their energy and rip stuff out of their energy. You don't know their path, for one, and two, you could be leaving gaping holes in their energy and make it worse for them later on. If they want a healing from you, they will come to you, and they are meant to come to you. But now, if somebody walks into my home space, like a repair guy, all bets are off because you've entered my space. But but with another foreign space, there was a psychic that was going around trying to drum up business by doing mini reads on people. And I finally looked at the guy and said, this isn't the Long Island medium. You can't go around and do that. It's like you're attaching cords to people. You're opening mini conduits. I said, you have to open circle, close circle. You can't, and in your own space, you cannot go wandering the fair trying to drum up business like that. I said, can you not do that? And he stopped. But there was another group of people that caught wind of what I'd said, came over like a mafia group, and basically would always send a representative over and say, well, no, this is the way things are done. You can't exactly tell people this and tell people that and all this other stuff. And I finally got pissed. And I said, look, you're violating the people's individual liberties by doing this. You cannot do that. Well, no, you don't understand. I eventually I said, okay, I'm going to make this person understand. I did this big energy flash bomb at him, like really quick, with my, just like, kind of like the spitter in Jurassic Park with the fan coming out. And I finally got mad at him, and this person looked at me and I said, "Did I make my point?" And they walked away from me at that point. But I do that only in cases where like somebody else is trying to impose a particular like way I know is not good onto me and saying it's a normal, it's a pattern, it's a way you're supposed to do things, and I get really pissed at something like that.
Well,
So
you guys are professionals, so I'm talking about maybe a person that knows that they have the ability and it's not a good person, and they're going into other people's minds and watching what's going on with them. And I feel that is an intrusion, like you had said, Bryan. And but I found there is a methodology for protection I've utilized for myself. I, like Bryan, Sir Bryan said, I block them. I put up a wall of darkness that they cannot breach that, and I rebuke any attempts at them coming into me in any way, shape, or form psychically. And then I had another question. Can you, when you're remote viewing, I think I already know the answer to this, can you come back from, like, say it's an egregious person that has breached you and come into remote view, can you walk away with, can they walk away with demonic attachments?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, most definitely. I've seen it. It's almost like a yo-yo type effect. If you're remote viewing somewhere, you have a cord that's with you back to your physical body. Yeah, and your quantum signature can be traced. Your footprint can be traced from wherever you are. Can a demonic entity follow you back from that? Yes, this is why I always envision I'm burning my shoes at that point. That's basically symbolic for burning the footprints on the way back. But people that are intrusively remote viewing yourself, like if they're breaking all the ethical rules and everything, can a demon attach to you via that person? Absolutely true there too.
No, I'm thinking, can a demon attach to, not to me, could a demon attach to that person, because their intent is not a healing intent. Their intent is intrusion, invasion, and attacking you. And could when they experience that realm, can they leave with a demonic attachment?
Absolutely.
100%. I always do this. I do it morning, noon, and night. I put a bubble, white golden light, power of God around me, and on the outside of the bubble, it is mirrored so they cannot see within. And this way I can go travel and see, and they're not seeing who I am, and they can't even read through my Faraday cage, if you'd like to call it, or a God cage. But it's I've had people where I've gone to, like, you go to fairs and whatever, and there are people that are trying to read, and someone picked up and they wouldn't stop. And I'm in my head as I'm walking, cut the shit. And I got just pissed off, and I don't play games with anybody. I walked right up into their face and I said, "You want to know something? You're going to have a big freaking problem eating food with no teeth if you don't stop." No. And when you confront these, and I call them cowards, when you confront these people, they shut down real quick. They also urinate out themselves 9 out of 10 times.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't play games like that. Don't read me. And I know who protects me, and he's a big player in the God zone, and I've been told this numerous times by numerous people. So I'll take the support of Brother Michael any day of the week, and we don't play around.
I have another one. So, not a malevolent thing, and involuntarily, okay, I can shake someone's hand and tell stuff about them. I'm not trying to probe them. I'm not trying to remote view them. It's just, that's an involuntary thing where I just shake your hand. And I remember shaking one person's hand and say, "Oh, your family knew Hitler personally." And I was right. So, that's an involuntary. It's not an intrusion. And that's really why I thought the COVID thing and the 6 foot apart, because the people that were psychic intuitives that could tell by shaking your hand, they weren't allowed to do that anymore. Remember the elbow thing?
Yeah. I mean, everybody has this ability. You are created by in God. When God creates man, creates him with in his image, which includes the ability to use your sixth senses and all this other stuff. And it's specifically for communication back to God.
Yes.
But you're going to pick up on certain things. Women are awesome because they're hemisync naturally. Men, not normally. If you're quantitative, artistic, musical, then you're hemisyncing. The younger girls, when they go through their transition into womanhood, they have this, telekinesis. I mean, stuff happens, doors slam. They don't even realize they're doing it. It just happens naturally. Most people, when you meet somebody, everything about you, if they're like a bad person, you know it instantaneously. There is no it's like it's like the cover of Pink Floyd meeting the guy on fire. You know it. I've seen people walk into a place and I literally turned over and I said, we got to go right now. And I've walked out and they're like, what are you doing? I just sat down. I'm like, let's go. And within 3 minutes, the cops are there and there's something going down because I read him as soon as he came through the door. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Like, Chris down there with the vendors coming into your home. You bet your ass I'm going to read you. I don't know what you're up to. And I can tell automatically. And I've got some people are shady. They check out your stuff. But they also I don't know what it is, but when I walk into a place, 9 out of 10 times people think I'm a cop. I don't know. I had a cop vibe, but that means that I have a boatload of protection that's surrounding me. And that's those women that walked at night and why'd you stop not grabbing her? He goes, well, she had a big dog around her. That big dog is your connection to the other world. That's how they're appearing. She doesn't have a big dog with her. It's the presence of whoever is with you and protecting you. And it could be that third generation person that you were back in the head, like you were speaking about, Chris, when you were a super soldier, and this is your auto defense program, and you're not even aware of it. And it gets really crazy when you start getting aware of what you used to be and what you used to do. That's where it gets like with Drago, it's a holy crap moment. You're like, and thank God Bryan and Chris and Bryan brings all these people together. And there's at least a release system for everybody. It's very frustrating when you no one believes you. They think you're crazy and you're not.
I think it's even more than that because each one of you has a slightly different talent. Just like we need somebody that's a plumber, we need an electrician or whatever. And in this community, those gifts are those gifts, those talents vary from person to person. But when we come together, it makes where you can do something that one alone could not. And I think that that's important. And then, like you have the person that's got the management skills like Bryan Singh that can bring people together to do this. And then there's the more like what you'd call the technicians, and where they have a specific skill and now they're able to use it because they're being directed in ways that they can be more beneficial than on their own, if that makes any sense.
Oh, 100%. It's like the true X-Men. It's really weird when you meet somebody that has those gifts. It's kind of like, and I don't want to go geek on people, but it's like Wonder Twin powers activate, form of kicking someone's ass, form of like backup. There are people that are Overwatch. There are people that are the Point. There are people that are Recon. Everybody has a purpose, but some people have been through so much that they choose to say to themselves, I can't do this anymore. So they pull themselves back and they don't want to go to the old person. And you got to respect that because you don't know what they've been through. But other people, but they're still there, I got you, where are you going to be? I got you. I'm 3 a.m. call all the time with people. And I don't know, I never put that out there, but people sense it. Like if I'm the 3 a.m. call, I've been for a bunch of people at certain points.
You know,
means I
that's
don't sleep.
interesting that you say that, because that I think that I know that Penny is, and I have been.
Yeah.
And one of the things that seems to help is that, biblically speaking, and it says in the Bible, fire purifies. When you're going through really difficult times, it's a purification process. And if you see it that way, people can manage it better. They, don't fear, because that causes the attachments that have to be cleared. That can take you into dark spaces. The fear is probably the most damaging thing that you can do. And
Absolutely.
I think that all of you could speak to that, because I think a lot of times when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with someone that's afraid, and you're bringing them to a space where they're not afraid anymore. Yeah.
Yes.
Any comments on that?
Well, actually, we after we're out of time, unfortunately.
Oh
Jacob, can we bring you back?
Till next week.
Oh, of course,
Can we bring you back?
of course.
Because I'd like to lift you up. You are at thelifting.net. And so I encourage people to go there. And I definitely want to bring you back, because I think we just didn't even scratch the surface, but we had a wonderful conversation on some certain points. And I think that what Bryan Singh is doing is extraordinary. I don't think anyone's ever done it before. Bryan Singh, how can people find you?
Thank you, Penny. I'm at fulldisclosure.live is the conference website, and we'll be updating it as we build out the Full Disclosure Network online platform. And then just to answer Joan Renee's question real quickly, what I recommend when people are dealing with fear, the number one thing I recommend is for everyone to put on the armor of God. Your helmet is salvation, so your sound mind, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth, shoes of the
Darko
gospel
layer
of peace.
armor, night armor. That's what I do too. So
yeah, the armor, and just like, yep.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And Sir Bryan? Oh, wait, show us your tat. Just show it.
So I got a Knights Templars hooked cross at the conference a couple weeks ago, because I am a Knights Templar. But I don't do it like they do it in all these organizations. I actually follow what the true Knights Templars were following. And talk about putting on armor of God. I do it every day, because there's some evil people in this world. So
where can people find you?
Wednesday nights, Third Eye Live on my YouTube @ Bryan Bowden with a Y, BRYAN BOWDEN, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. And we're going on almost season 2. We're almost finished this year out. So we made it.
And we can also find you on the Awake Nation every Thursday.
Yes.
And then here on Agent X11.
X11.
Love it when you join us.
I can come in, and when I can't come in.
Right.
But I'm going to try to be here. Yes.
Joan Renee, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me here on Agent X11. You can find me also on the Awake Nation on Tuesdays and Thursdays, on Trauma Triage on the Awake Nation David Zublik channel on Wednesdays. And you can find me on X, Joan Renee 27.
Excellent. And you can find me on X at Shepherd Out. If you would like to contact anyone here, feel free to text my phone, 619-779-9771. I will make certain that they get the message. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on Agent X11 or on Trauma Triage Team or on Patriot Crossroads, which is one of the Agent X11s, or on the Awake Nation. And then I have another show. It's called Spiritual Encounters with Pastor Casper McLeod, and that's on Fridays. So if you feel that you would want to be a guest on any of those shows, please text my phone. Again, it's 619-779-9771. And we are also live on X. So please like, share, and subscribe. And please find each and every one of these people. Please find Bryan Singh on Facebook. And you can see his hat and his thing that says Solar Bee. And you can communicate with him on Instant Messenger. And we're always looking for guests for Bryan Singh's segment, which is Bryan Singh Presents on Agent X11. I thank you all for joining us. And please like, share, and subscribe. We are out of time. So we're out of here. Shepherd out.
Renee out.
Bryan out.
Solar Bee out.
Chris Jacobs out.
Goodbye for today from Agent X11, Hollywood Dark Journalist. We post new episodes daily. Check out our true crime episodes Wednesdays and Fridays. Don't forget to watch our main show, David Zubik's Awake Nation, on the David Zubik channel on Rumble, live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern.